still haven't watched the NASCAR one. Oh, the Everest discrepancy is in Plymouth. Oh.
Always remember, if you ain't first, you're last.
Columbus, Washington, Armstrong.
Thanks, Resub J. Hope you're doing well.
These names are remembered for one reason.
Doing
and
okay.
one reason only. They were each the first to accomplish something remarkable.
So you can toss it, Jay.
Thanks,
Resub Zero. Hope you've been doing
used
well.
adjectives in the English language. Out of all descriptive
Resub
concepts, first may be the most important superlative. Words we use to express the highest degree of something. First is one of the most popular superlatives because it's so unambiguous. Being the first person to do anything is a big deal. All who follow you have no choice but to know your name. If you're the first to
Not true.
History will remember you long after you're gone.
I used to think that too. Like, if you're the first person to do something, it's a big deal. But nowadays, no one fucking cares. Like, think of something you use every day. A sink. Who was the guy who invented the sink? Fucking John Nobody? Like, only certain things is it cool to be first in.
Most superlatives end with the suffix est, a grammatical trait rather fittingly shared by the tallest mountain on the planet. Mount Everest is quite possibly the world's most famous landform. It towers nearly 9 kilometers above sea level and can be seen from over 300 kilometers away, equivalent to seeing New York City from Boston. It's a well-known fact that the first person to reach the summit of Everest was Sir Edmund Hillary in 1953. It's one of those pieces of trivia that gets thrown around so much that you just stop questioning it.
No, I never knew that.
Like something that should be indisputable. The first man to set foot atop the tallest mountain. An unambiguous statement of fact. Except, 29 years before Edmund Hillary reached the top of Everest, there's a small chance, but a chance nonetheless, that someone else may have got there first.
Who was the first person to poop without peeing?
The Western world first laid eyes on
another
Everest
great
in the
example.
Middle of the 19th century,
Thanks, man.
But it wasn't until 1921 when they first set foot on it. That year, the British Royal Geographic Society financed the first expedition to explore Everest and identify a route to the top. A leading member of the expedition was 34-year-old George Mallory, considered to be one of the most skilled climbers.
Hey, George.
Just 5 years prior, Mallory was fighting in the Battle of the Somme, where over the span of 5 months, the young men of Europe suffered more than 1.6 million casualties. In 1922, Mallory was about to enter one of the few places on Earth that was even more inhospitable. For millennia, civilizations around the world have considered the highest mountains to be sacred grounds. Anyone who dared to climb them would be trespassing in the realm of gods. No matter how superstitious you are, you can't deny that there are some places on Earth that human beings were never designed to go.
No, we can go anywhere.
Like Everest, the terrain
Fuck
is so
nature.
precarious that one misstep can result
Thanks
in
for the 5 gift subs,
fall.
Omelet. Appreciate it.
For most of the year,
Thank
the
you,
summit
Omelet.
is blasted with hurricane-force winds, enough to blow any climber clear off the mountain.
I did not know
Any
that.
practical attempts to reach the summit have to be conducted in roughly a 10-day window before the annual monsoon season, when wind speeds are relatively calm. Usually this window opens towards the end of May.
Thanks for some Makoto
Even
and
then,
Swamy.
temperatures at the top of Everest struggle to break 0 degrees, cold enough to cause frostbite on exposed skin in minutes. The frigid temperatures force climbers to seek shelter by nightfall.
Thanks for resub, Darth.
But even the welcome warmth of the sun presents its own challenges during the day. Ultraviolet radiation becomes much more potent at high altitudes. Combined with highly reflective snow, people on Everest are at constant risk of snow blindness and other debilitating
Jesus
eye problems.
Christ.
Even during optimal weather,
I had no
conditions can
idea.
change in an instant. Climbers can venture onto the Everest
Thanks
slopes
for
on
Prime
a
Earth
clear
Bunny.
day and suddenly find themselves stranded in blizzard conditions with nowhere to hide. As if that wasn't bad enough, the roving threat of an avalanche can wipe out an entire team of climbers in a matter of seconds. However, in spite of all the deadly hazards that await climbers at the top of Everest, the single most life-threatening factor has to do with what isn't there. At 29,000 feet, air pressure is 3 times lower than at sea level, meaning that climbers have access to only 1/3 as much oxygen. Mount Everest is one of 14 summits that extends above the 8,000 meter mark, otherwise known as the death zone. Beyond
That's
this
hardcore.
altitude, the human body no longer has enough oxygen to sustain itself, and within several hours, vital systems will begin to shut down. Climbers who enter this range are no longer flirting with death. They are literally in the process of dying. If anyone in the death zone fails to descend back to a safe altitude in time, their chances of survival are 0. The death zone presents an extreme complication by making any run
Seeing
towards the
pictures, it
Everest
doesn't
summit a
look that
crucially
crazy.
time-sensitive event. Climbers must maintain a certain pace on the final ascent or else risk running out of oxygen. To make matters even more difficult, the thin atmosphere makes the act of climbing painstakingly slow. Most climbers near the summit have to stop to catch their breath after each individual step.
That'd be pretty crazy,
The
Tori.
process is so exhaustive that summiters are expected to burn more than 15,000 calories, equivalent to the daily energy output of 7 people. The peak of Mount Everest is in contention for the single most hazardous place on the surface of the Earth. And 99 years ago, George Mallory was one of 6 climbers trying to get there. On
No
May
way he
19,
survived.
1922,
He's still up
Mallory
there.
led Howard Somerville, Edward Norton, and Henry Morshead on
Edward
the first
Norton?
official attempt to reach the Everest
Oh
summit.
my god.
Across 3 days, the team trekked up the north side of the mountain, eventually reaching a record altitude of 8,225 meters
Thanks,
before
Resub
turning
Ekix.
back. On May 24th, George Finch and Jeffrey Bruce set off on another attempt, this time making use of supplemental oxygen. On the 27th, Finch reached a new altitude record of 8,326 meters. Immediately, Mallory was eager to make his own attempt with oxygen,
Thanks, Resub Justin.
believing that it was his ticket to making history. While many of the exhausted climbers were hesitant to make a third attempt, Mallory's fascination with Everest had begun to turn into an obsession. On June 3rd, he
Imagine being
convinced
obsessed
several
with a
climbers
mountain.
to follow him on a hastily
Idiot.
improvised
If I